What is going on, all of you gaming legends out there? I'm going to attempt my first team builder now. Haven't watched too many other people do these before, just on the fact that I want to make sure I do my own thing. As far as I'm aware, most people use Showdown to go through the Pokemon of the opponent that you're going up against, and then you show them your team that you're bringing versus that person and explain what you think they're going to run, why you're doing the things that you're doing, and all of that fun stuff there. So, shout out, first of all, to my front office, because without them, I'd be literally nothing. They've helped me with my drafts. We've come a long way. So, my first ever draft league, we did, I had Dan and Chase help me drafting with some help from Tia. And then brought in Kami after the draft to help with the team building. And literally Tia and Kami helped with just the two of them, my entire season of APA. With a few hidden techs. My first week, Joey Pokeaim helped me build my team versus Kyle. We got 6-0'd, but that doesn't mean the team wasn't good. It just means I wasn't good enough to use it. And it should have worked, but that's okay. Live and learn. I think I go up against Kyle again, so watch out, buddy. Anyway, and then MV also showed up late last season to help me build as well. So this time around, I was extremely invested in the draft. I helped tremendously in suggesting Pokemon and was very involved in everything there. And my front office has probably doubled in size. I think I brought in at least 2, maybe 4, 5 more people to help out with my front office this time around. So, this here is the baby of my front office, our build. But let's look at Nate's team, what scared the hell out of me, and what I thought he was going to bring and what we built for it. So, since the team building aspect of things is still quite foreign to me in terms of which moves are best. And then I think I can determine okay, you want stab moves, you want some surprise coverage moves those electric mons that learn Grass Knot. You bring in a ground type to deal with it, and somehow they have Grass Knot as coverage move, and then you're just it takes you by surprise. So you always want to make sure you have at least a stab, some sort of setup, some hazards, and then some coverage. That gives you an advantage should you predict a swap in that somebody's going to bring in to deal with your typing, which is also another weak point of mine is typings. I'm still absolute garbage at it. So here we go. I'm going to attempt this team builder. If you guys have feedback, please leave it in the description below. I want to do more battle content. I think I'm going to open up a sub league with my Twitch stream and port it all over onto YouTube and do a randomizer league. But that's another discussion for another video because I want to give you guys an opportunity to join in on that league as well in the future. So, but that'll all be done via Showdown. So any one of you could potentially join. So let's go ahead and talk about Nate's team. He has a Celigore, Electivire, Wigglytuff, Doublade, Vaporeon, Piloswine, Dodrio, Lurantis, Torracat, Shelgon, and Girder. Now, he's made some trades since this match, but this is the team that we had to go up against. So, in these mocks versus this team, the scariest 2 Pokemon for me, I've listed first here. A Celigore and Electivire. So, even at the disgusting... Oh, wait, hang on. I forgot to cut these down to level 50. Whenever we get over to that half of things. So, but in terms of this being a tier 3 and below league, a Celigore at his base speed, it's absolutely just disgusting. At a base 145 speed. This thing is a terror for my team. The stab bug buzz, with any sort of max special attack investment, just absolutely destroys my team. Energy Ball, Focus Blast, and it even has the potential to just go defensive and turn into a Spike Setter, along with T-Spikes as well. Celigore is terrifying, to say the least. So this thing, usually slap on some choice specs, according to Smogan. I'm even pronouncing that correctly, but you increase the damage even more by slapping it in with choice specs. Does it get U-turn too? Was that another concern of mine? Yes, it does. So it can even get a stab U-turn before it disappears. So hit hard, or if you lead with it and nothing, you get a stab U-turn off right out the gate anytime you bring it out. If a mon comes in that you don't like, whether you're specs or not, it's just disgusting and terrifies the hell out of me. So that was a Celigore, and then the other big problem for my team, because in Mox this thing just ran me because it can instantly OKO my Espeon before I can even have a potential to revenge kill. So we debated throwing on a berry on my Espeon, but it was literally only going to be to revenge kill a Celigore or reduce the damage so I could set up and kill this thing once it had gotten whittled down with some chip damage. But you'll see. In the end, I think we have a team that covers all of his mons and works out very well. So we're going to go into the other team. The one that scared me was Electivire. So this thing is fast enough as it is. Typically throw in some speed investment as well. Motor drive ability. So this speed is raised one stage if it's hit by an electric move, and it has an electric immunity. So that being said, like this thing, if I tried to volt switch at any point during the match, Nate brings in Electivire, and then instantly is 1.5 times speed, and I'm one, not able to get out of there because of the electric immunity, and two, whatever I bring in there, he instantly outspeeds most of the time, especially if he did speed investment or added anything else. So I don't really think this needed a Scarf in that regard, and Life Orb just hits hard across the board and doesn't lock him into a particular move. So Stab, Wild Charge. So yeah, Electivire was just a little bit terrifying for me in that regard. Because this the attack, everything, just it hits hard. It has the potential to be very fast, but it has weaknesses. It's not impossible, but I'm just letting you guys know the two mons across the board that like terrified me the most of all of his team were these two. So then next we have what? How is that? Okay, whatever. You guys can see my my bookmarks. Yeah, it's all right. It's cool. Just try to clip everything out, but apparently I just failed miserably. So that's all right. I think it's because I originally had it stretched and I put two screens side by side, so it brought it down a little bit. But whatever. Wigglytuff was his troll first round pick. As much of a troll pick as this thing is, the ability competitive is very terrifying in the fact that if I try to if I bring out Napoleon at any point in time to defog or any of my foggers in that regard, this special attack goes up by 2 for each of its stats that are raised. So so I try and defog on the rocks. He brings in Wigglytuff. Not only so I clear rocks, but he has the ability once to set them again, and his Wigglytuff is now up +2, which, as you guys can already see, a special attack with full investment is already 150. We do not want to be doubling that into a 300 attack before anybody even, like, before I can even do anything to this thing. This thing comes in and immediately has that extra boost. So it kind of also terrified me in the fact that, like, these first 3 mons, like, Celigore is just a monster. Electivire prevents me from volt switching out and gets a speed boost, and Wigglytuff prevents me from defogging and gets a special attack boost. So like it's 3 Pokemon that would requires a lot of switch-ins and playing smart and thinking a few moves ahead as to terms to what Nate is gonna do, in terms of what he's gonna swap in. Because if I mess up, it's very, very scary situation to put myself into. And speaking of messing up, Doublade. This thing is terrifying, and I can't stress it enough. This team is disgusting of his. I mean, there's weaknesses, obviously, to every team, but in terms of Doublade, The Steel Ghost typing is unique enough where it presents enough of a problem. If I have to swap out on this thing whatsoever, I mean, it's very fragile. I mean, look at those defense stats. Is a special, very fragile in terms of special defense, and doesn't get a lot of HP to begin with. So it's fragile in that sense. But if he brings it in at the right time and can get a sword stance off, the +2 Shadow Sneak with full attack investment is decimating to a lot of my team. So Doublade, especially with Evil Light for an extra defensive boost, like, geez, dear God. And then Vaporeon, so across the board, like, a lot of my team, I think, depends on Toxic, Hazards, and Burns to accomplish what it needs to in terms of reducing overall damage to these teams and chipping away at health, because I don't have a lot of mons that hit very hard. So Vaporeon became a bit of a concern in that it could do the same thing to my team. It could Toxic Stall me out with Protect. It can heal itself with Wish or any of the other teams. It even gets Heal Bell, so anything that, like, in terms of status effects that I would do to his team, he could instantly rectify that situation for itself. So that's why, and then Vaporeon can also just be extremely offensive and terrifying in that regard too. So we're gonna jump into Piloswine. I mean, this low tier league is so hard in the fact that, like, so many mons have such unpredictable sets, and you're gonna see that when we jump over to the other side here. But Eviolite is just such a problem, Thick Fat on Piloswine, and it just bulky physical sweeper. This thing can come in priority with Ice Shard. It gets its rocks ups to deal with my Talonflame, and then can instantly kill it with Ice Shard because I don't have Gale Wings any longer to outspeed. Thick Fat alone already presents enough of a problem in terms of the Fire and Ice moves deal. Wait, what did that say? Should be, yeah, deal less damage. Okay, half the attack stat. Let's be technical about it. Fine, but yeah, and then the Stab EQ and the Stab Icicle Crash, just like, dude, problems across the board. And then we're gonna jump over to the other side here with his Dodrio. Usually run it with Fight Z or a Fly Z to get that stab flying move. Very fast. Again, terrifyingly fast, but not a Celigore fast. I mean, that base speed, bro. So, still, especially with tier 3 and below league, I can't stress this enough. There's just so many standout Pokemon in the fact that, like, the higher your base speed, there's not a lot of fast mons in this league. There's not. So, like, Dodrio, a Celigore. What else do we got? Base 95. No. See, like, look how small and slow most of his team is. So, like, Dodrio and a Celigore are terrifying. Electivire at 1.5 with a Volt Switch and its Motor Drive. Terrifying. Just scary as hell, people. Can't stress it enough. So, and if that's not terrifying enough with a base 110's attack stat and full investment, it gets Sword Stance and a Stab Brave Bird, and it has a Stab Quick Attack too. So it's the same kind of threat as Doublade, except it is infinitely faster, 3 times faster than Doublade, and still gets Stab priority. So that was a kind of a concern for me there. And Lurantis also had the same concerns as Vaporeon. Not so much in the fact that it can be extremely offensive, but it provides that cleric role as well in terms of the aromatherapy, defogging, synthesis to heal itself up, and then it also has Stab Grass, which is just enough of a problem as it is. And it also deals with my Rhyperior, my Empoleon, and I have just very few counters to it in that sense. I mean, but it's frail. Again, just one of those things that you can chip away at and be good to go. Torracat, a little bit of a Trollsy pick again from Nate. Just normally how he works and operates. I'm going to try and wrap this up because I know this is going to go like 20 minutes because I'm rambling as per usual. So Torracat, kind of just a discount Incineroar without Darkest Lariat. Gets U-turn to keep momentum going for itself. The Fake Out, obviously, can slap on some Protect. Bring it in to threaten out some of my Pokemon, and then it can just bounce back as well. And keep the momentum going for himself. Shelgon, Terrifying, absolutely terrifying as a fast physical sweeper, as the analysis says here. But you just slap on a Dragon Dance and Outrage, and this thing can just keep going. Even if it, like, Scarf it too, whatever, dude. If you're just planning on making this thing a nuke, you can slap a Choice Scarf instead of Eviolite on there, and this thing just gets even more terrifying. And then Girder. Again, like I said, a lot of my team revolves around burns, toxic, and chip damage. Girder getting Eviolite and Guts. Yeah, you really don't want to status this thing, and it kind of, again, is one of those mons that I'd have to play around as we played it. So Girder was another one that, my biggest concerns in Mox were that he's going to have a team full of a Celigor, Electivire, Wigglytuff, Vaporeon, that's 4, Girder, and then bring in probably Dodrio, I think, to deal. Well, no. Was it Piloswine? I think Piloswine was my other concern. Or Doublade. Doublade. There we go. That's probably my biggest concerns there. He has a lot of sweepers. Hang on, let's change that. There we go. A lot of mons that just have the potential to just, like, crush my team. So here's what we ended up bringing for that. Let's see, team listing. There we go. So let's go ahead and go into, actually, yeah, we can do half screens here, and then just back to boom. Okay, so we'll just put it up on both screens here for you guys. We're decided to bring Rhyperior with Roxy. The Rock Polish Swords Dance combo is disgusting because I can either get, if I have the potential to set up, I can outspeed a lot of things in the tier. We maxed its speed, giving me an extra advantage in that regard too. And then Swords Dance to increase its attack damage with its Stab, Stone Edge, and Earthquake. Then we ended up bringing our Rainbow Roll, or Alolan Muck here. Pursuit Trap. Give it an Iapa Berry so it can sponge some damage and heal itself back up, and then potentially Revenge Kill something. Get a Poison Jab off, knock off some items, Pursuit Trap, or just start slinging Toxics. Like I said, a lot of my team revolves around that. Talonflame, obviously, Gale Wings. The real tech here, courtesy of Envy, is the Lychee Berry Natural Gift. So we can spit out Natural Gift. Lychee Berry is grass. So if he brings in a Watermon or Piloswine to potentially deal with our Talonflame, and I can predict the swap, I can spit out my Lychee Berry, Natural Gift, get grass damage down on, super effective grass damage down on some of his Mons, and now that I've spit out my berry, I get double attack power from Acrobatics, and still get to keep my +1 Gale Wings, double damage, Acrobatics. Or is it 1.5 times? Whatever it is for Acrobatics. Let's see. Acrobatics. Power doubles. That's what I thought. Okay. That's what I thought. I'm great, people. So that is, let's do it this way. There's the team. And then jump into the EV spreads here and stuff. Doesn't really need too much speed investment to outspeed most of his team, especially with the priority Acrobatics. With Gale Wings, and as long as I don't take any damage, it keeps its priority, and I don't have to worry about Brave Bird reducing that damage as well. And then we also brought our Electros to deal with... so we swapped to U-Turn instead of Volt Switch to deal with Electivire's Motor Drive. Giga Drain for Piloswine, because we don't get any... because it has that electric immunity. Flamethrower as well to deal with that. I can't stress enough, like, Electros as a lead, dude, I love this thing. Thunder, or electric, fire, and grass out of the gate to deal with things. So regardless, most of the time, I'm going to be surprising somebody. The Assault Vest, Levitate gives it the ground immunity. This thing really has, like, no weaknesses and has great coverage. Like, this mon is so underrated, dude. And then we brought in Espeon. Again, like I said, I was extremely terrified of the Celigor. So instead of giving it the berry to deal with bug damage, we gave it the berry to deal with Doublade, because that'll reduce the incoming damage, and I can revenge kill. So that was a great bring in my mind. Give it some speed investment. So again, it's very fast, outpaces a lot of things in the game, in the meta, or on his team. Full out special attack, so it can just hit hard when it goes for the revenge kills after eating up the Concept. Magic Bounce to deal with his hazard sets, because I was sure he was going to bring some to deal with Talonflame and reduce its priority. And yeah, and then our beautiful, wonderful Empoleon. Dude, I love this thing. I cannot stress enough how much I love this thing. Torrent, so that when it gets whittled down, it can do increased damage with Scald, can set rocks, can sling toxics, and then even deal with the stuff that he has on his end. But that is going to wrap up our team builder. This thing's actually almost gone longer than my actual match with Nate will probably go. So, if you guys have advice for me to just kind of condense down the thing, or maybe I'll just get better switching through these as I learn what the hell I'm doing. But any advice would be greatly appreciated if you made it all the way to the end of the video. The battle will go up tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune in, enjoy, and thank you so much for watching me ramble along, and hopefully I'm starting to learn what I'm doing. But thank you guys. Peace out, you sexy, gorgeous, wonderful gaming legends. Take care.